All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. They say health is only wealth where it is kept good. And I must emphasize that the healthier a population is, the healthier it can possibly become the human, when I say resources, in terms of what we put in the great productivity of the height of our health. Again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, your executive producer, your producer, your script. I think I'll be putting out my bio by myself. But again, welcome guys to another episode of Real Talk with Kike. I think it's important for us to hear what on this day industry segment has for us. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. I think my takeaway from on this day industry segment today is this is just one talent out of numerous talents in Nigeria, waiting to be seen and heard on the global stage. And one of the reasons why I like on this day industry segment today is the fact that I will be touching on something similar, because there are a bunch of talents that can go viral, and there's a reminder that we can strengthen the way we project our talents into the world, and the will, and this, when I say the will, or this will, open them to global revenue and different streams of income generally. However, if greater importance is that we should continue to be known with positivity and not negativity in terms of the popularity of our country, Nigeria. So I think that's my takeaway from on this initial segment. I think it's time for us to get a quick message from those who have put me on this platform. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. The government has described the strain of cholera in Lagos highly aggressive and contagious, with the potential for widespread dissemination. And of course, the Commissioner for Health, Professor Abayomi, said through community-based case finding and contact tracing that the government observed that the number of cases has spiked and is now significantly declining. And the United Nations Children's Fund, as UNICEF, has called for extensive measures to protect school children against the cholera outbreak in the country. As of Sunday, 15 people has died and over 60 had been hospitalized in Lagos following report of several outbreaks of causes by cholera. And I must say that in a statement on Monday by Celine, that's the chief of the UNICEF Lagos field office, said that cholera critically affects children and the young population, noting that efforts should be made to protect them. On the live show today, my real-time talk show, I will be covering the current status of the outbreak, with Lagos Island being the epicenter, and of course to explore the aggressive and contagious nature of this cholera strain. And I will delve into the challenges faced by health authorities, the effectiveness of community-based case finding, and of course contact tracing. And what else will I be touching? I will be touching on the critical role of public health measures. Additionally, I will discuss treatment options, alternative or preventive strategies, and future preparedness to enhance public health infrastructure. And on the live show today, I have a guest that is joining me from our Abuja studio. But I think it's important for us to check out his profile. When I return, we will be speaking to him. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Dr. Ejike Orji. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike today. How are you doing today, sir? Many thanks for connecting with us from our Abuja studio.
Yeah, and yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday in arrears. We wish you longevity and sparkling of health. How are you doing?
Thank you very much.
How do you feel? Do you feel very fit?
Thank you very much.
All right, let's just dive straight to the topic at hand. You know, Professor Atanda-Owo mentioned that the strain of cholera in Lagos is highly aggressive and contagious, you know. And I must ask you, can you explain what makes this particular strain so dangerous, you know, in terms of the potential for widespread dissemination, so that residents and parents can be more informed?
Yes, thank you very much. When you have an outbreak like this, an infectious disease outbreak, especially either it's a bacteria or a virus, we already know in some cases the behavior of those, should I say, pathogens. But the thing that is usually different is the virality or the severity of infection they can cause because of different mutations they would have undergone. If I might take you back a little, just 2 years ago, we had coronavirus across the world. And you remember there are different strains. When we thought that we're getting it, a different strain will come up after mutation and becomes more aggressive. So it's the same thing that is happening to the cholera, it's called cholera vibrio. It's also some mutants can make it more aggressive. So what this means is the same thing the ordinary one will cause, but this one will be much more lethal in terms of infectivity, and then also in terms of causing damage. And you know, the major concern with cholera is that when people get it, they start having what we call gastroenteritis, and then also vomiting, which means severe diarrhea. And it's so severe, they lose water so fast. But what actually kills most often than not is not just the dehydration, is the electrolyte imbalance that is caused, because as you lose electrolytes. And then when it becomes very critically low, it can affect the function of the heart. So this is why one strain will be much more aggressive than the other. They are basically the same. It's just that the severity of the disease that cause is much higher than the ones that came before it.
Many thanks for that insight right there. But I must ask you, based on will I say community-based case finding and contact tracing question is what I want to bring to fore right now, because I want to ask, because the government has been using community-based case finding and contact tracing to manage this outbreak. Can you elaborate on how these methods have been implemented and their effectiveness in controlling the spread of cholera? That's my first question to you. My second question is the fact that there are challenges in managing this outbreak. I like the fact that you mentioned earlier about, you know, the previous outbreak that we had 2 years ago. So my question now again is, what are some of the biggest challenges the health authorities have faced in managing and controlling this cholera outbreak, and how have they been, or how have these challenges been addressed thus far?
Well, the challenge people have in this sort of thing is, first of all, the, should I say, the tactile nature of surveillance. What I mean is the surveillance for that sort of disease is here on the ground. Do people know this is happening and report immediately to the health authorities to intervene? And that's number one. Number two is the first contact. How are they traced? Because the contact tracing is so important. Like, in fact, if you manage COVID, it's almost like the same sort of thing. You have community members who will report to the health center. The health center will now alert the health authorities to intervene. But it's not just finding out that there's a problem. is what normally happens within the first 24 hours. Because if the surveillance is not good enough to be able to allow the authorities to intervene quickly, especially where the health infrastructure is not strong. I remember that this disease, one of the diseases, can kill people within the first 24, 48 hours. So if that intervention is not fast enough, then it will cause more havoc. So the strength of the health system in terms of having a synergy with the community participants in this health architecture, it becomes very, very important. If you remember, the Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare did say that one of the pillars of what they are going to do is to increase health security. And this is one of the key things that he's trying to address, to make sure that Nigeria is always ready and able to find out these things early, because if you find early, you treat early, and then you save a lot of lives. So I will say this is one of the key areas that the government of Lagos State, if you use that as an example, that is the same in 30 states right now. So all the health surveillance system will be up and running. And I know that the NCDC, in the last time we had COVID, that they developed very strong community structures to be able to get this sort of information and then act accordingly. But I always say it's important in terms of public health education and community engagement is to quickly make sure that the community members know what this thing is and what to do before healthcare people arrive. And a good example, I always say, when somebody has this kind of florid diarrhea, the person should just keep drinking oral rehydration therapy, as much as you stool, as much as you drink. The chance of survival is very high before the health authorities will come and probably able to put in intravenous fluids, and then of course antibiotics to treat. So it is that architecture that is at the local level in terms of community engagement and public education that will make sure that once this thing is found out, there are structures to make sure it bubbles up to the health authorities. And the National Center for Disease Control, the NCDC, is the overarching agency that has the responsibility to support states to make sure that these things are done very well, and then the incidents are brought to a very minimal level before it escalates.
Many thanks for that elaborate submission right there. And obviously, with all that you've shared thus far, it's really paramount that we touch on the public health measures and community involvement, because I feel that is pretty key right now. So my question now is, what specific public health measures have been put in place to prevent the spread of cholera, and how can the community get involved in supporting this effort? I know that you've shared a little bit regarding what steps that can take. The reason why I'm asking this is because I feel that with what you've shared thus far, there must be steps that are in place already, especially when it comes to the treatment and prevention strategies as well. So I must ask again, can you discuss the treatment options available for cholera, especially in several cases and maybe emergencies and all of that? What preventive measures can individuals take to protect themselves and their families? Sometimes I've heard all sorts in recent times that, don't be in a public environment, don't share certain things and all of that. Do you think that will also help? What's your take thus far with these two questions?
Yes, let me start from the community, the public health and this thing that should be in place. If you remember, I had mentioned two key phrases: public education and community engagement. That has to be massive. And then the Nigerian public is actually a little experienced in this case of how to manage epidemics this is an epidemic yet. It's not a pandemic because it's just still restricted in Nigeria. So the thing is that cast people's minds 2 years ago when we battled COVID. Every step people took to prevent them getting COVID is the same set of things you do to prevent getting cholera. The only difference between COVID and cholera in terms of intervention is that you do not wear a mask. on your face. So personal hygiene, just simple and stupid, I call them measures of making sure your hands are clean before you put anything, you pick anything and put in your mouth. And there are two ways of making sure of that. Washing with running water and soap. Anytime you want to put anything in your mouth, even if it is 20 times a day, you wash your hands with soap and water, running water, not putting water in a bowl and washing your hands inside that bowl. I call that ceremonial hand washing. That means it has to be, if there's no tap, somebody should be pouring water as if it is a tap, and people wash their hands with it. If you do not have the opportunity to do that, maybe because you're on the road or you're in an office where your water is not running, hand sanitizers come in very handy again. So that means before you eat anything, you must wash your hands. That's the personal hygiene level. Then the other one is the sanitation level, because there is an initiative called WASH, which, if implemented fully, would prevent people from getting this disease. So if you come to sanitation, what does this mean? It means you must make sure that the environment you are in is clean. There is no complication or, should I say, adulteration or whatever you want to call it, of fecal matter in terms of the water you drink, in terms of the food you eat. That means you must wash your vegetables, the things that you do not cook, you must wash them very well, if possible, with some salty water, but make sure you wash them with clean water again. Because even if you wash and you use water that is contaminated, you have actually done nothing. And that is the importance of making sure that you do not also defecate openly, because when you do and you have cholera, you have deposited the pathogen in the ground, and with the upsurge of the water coming, it will wash it from the ground and wash it into the streams, and it will contaminate the water in the streams, and people who go to collect their water from the stream will collect that water and drink, and then they'll have it. And that's why, regardless of whether the water is clean, it is also advised, make sure you boil your water in your house. If you are not sure of the source of water, let it cool in a covered container before you drink. The other thing is, a lot of sachet water, bottled water are all over the places. People delusionally, you wouldn't blame them though, that water is clean. You must also make sure that these are NAFDAC certified sources of water. That's number one. Number two, before you drink, you make sure there is no breakage of the pure water polyethylene bag that has been used to put it together, or even the bottled water that is not leaking. So these are the simple measures you can do to even protect yourself getting the disease. And then the other one is making sure you cover all your food properly. Cover properly. And then if you want to eat, warm it, just in case, you never can say. So these are simple measures. I say if you do political community engagement and public education, and people get to know this, just tell them, remember COVID. It's a very simple, there was nobody who is an adult in Nigeria now that didn't experience COVID. Just say, remember that thing was say, wash your hands. So if you come, wash your hands. There's just slight difference. Like I said, the only major thing is the wearing of mask. And then the other thing is that you probably get immunized. I don't think we have enough testing for cholera right now. And then the major thing, Nigeria is one of the countries that has been adjusted to has one of the biggest problem of open defecation. And that's why when people have it, they deposit it on the ground. When there is water, rain, it washes it through the flood water into the streams and rivers. For people downstream from that place, once they pick that water, they pick the pathogen. But if they still boil the water, they will be disease-free. So I would say these are some of the measures. The other interventions is government driven to make sure that healthcare environmental sanitary inspectors are going around to make sure that the environment is clean, there's no open defecation, and then also make sure there is adequate stock of fluids in every primary healthcare center, because that is one that is closest to the people. There must be a lot of fluids, because that's the only thing that will save the patient once the patient is down. Make sure the appropriate fluid is stocked, and then the giving sets are there. And then there are healthcare workers also there who will be able to put the intravenous fluids. Remember, when somebody is dehydrated, the veins collapse. So it becomes difficult to get. So that means whoever is at that health center must be able to, if the person can't get, must be able to get help easily for somebody who will be able to put that intravenous into the veins of the patient. So that's the only way this will work.
All right, many thanks, Dr. Ejike Orji, for letting us look at the future recommendation and policy recommendation towards, the issue at hand at the moment. And it's been an interesting time with you on Real Talk with Kike today. We'll go on a quick break, and when I return, we'll be moving to the next segment with the second guest. Stay with me, I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, this earlier conversation was about the cholera outbreak in Lagos State, and a number of developments have been made as regards to this, and the Ministry of Health has been on top of their game in terms of how to curb this outbreak, and the community tracing has been initiated to limit the spread of the cholera virus in Lagos and other across the state in Nigeria. But remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 0811-888-113, showing it will be showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and of course on Silverbird platform. I will be moving on to the second segment of the show now. The last segment, like I said earlier, was was about the cholera outbreak. But the second segment now is dedicated to my second guest. His name is Mikun Olutayo. Is an esports pro and intern at Carrefour's multinational gaming company. He is a 300 level Babcock student, and we will be discussing his esports journey in connection with his upcoming no, not upcoming anymore, because it happened yesterday. The championship competition happened yesterday, but more details on the competition will be shared, and of course his career path. I must touch on this career path, knowing that he's still a student in school, and we'll be discussing all the academic careers and all of that. But again, many thanks Mayako, for creating time to be here to share all your experiences. But let me touch on the esports journey, Mayako, because really I will need you to share your journey, into the world of esports, because I must ask you, what inspired you to become a professional? And the reason why I'm touching on that is the fact that, the Call of Duty mobile player and the challenges that comes with it, I'll need you to share all of that for those who are watching us right now, knowing that African parents, I must bring it back home, African parents may not see why a brilliant scholar like you, should venture into such. Tell us what inspired it.
What inspired me? Okay, first things first. Gaming is life. Gaming is interesting. Gaming is beautiful. That's one thing we should all know. Gaming is basically like living in real life. So what inspired me to start gaming? I don't know. Everybody just plays games, yeah? Everybody just plays games. But what inspired me to take a career into gaming itself, to become a content creator, was laziness, actually. I graduated, before I went to Babcock University, I graduated from film school. Okay. That's Pepsi. Okay. And then after that, there was a period, before, I didn't want to go to university because I want to become a content creator. What does university want to offer me? So I had to, because, African parents. But then there was a break between film school and and Babcock University admission. So that period, that long period of time, I was bored and I was just playing game every day. So I felt like, why don't I become productive with it? And that's how I became a content creator in the aspect of Call of Duty Mobile.
All right, many thanks for keeping it real on this platform. You know, this platform is for us to be real, for us to be true to our calling. And I like the fact that you've mentioned laziness, mentioned the fact that there was a gap between your admission to Babcock, you know, and the fact that you were in filming school, and you just wanted to become a content creator, which I feel that youth of today, they just want to, you know, make it quick, and, you know, they feel like what has academics have to offer me, you know, stuff like that. So it's relatable because many people who have been on this platform, who are your age mates, have also shared the same, you know, perspective. But let's talk on balancing acts, because as a third-year mass communicator or mass communication student and an intern, you know, at Carry First, you know, how do you balance your academics now, you know, in terms of the responsibility that comes with your academics, with your profession, gaming career? When you said earlier that everybody plays games, I disagree, because I'm always trying to challenge my son. But what tips, you know, do you have for others trying to juggle multiple
things at once?
Commitments, yeah, maybe that's the word.
Okay. First of all, I'll speak like on a personal level, yeah? First of all, I would like to say something. I'm smart. If I can
see that. I went, trust me, I did my homework before you come into the studio.
I'm a bit like thoughtful, yeah, you understand? So before I agreed to, okay, let me go to university, in film school, before I agreed that let me go to university, I was like, mass communication is the best. Because being a content creator, you're dealing with public relations, you're dealing with advertising, that's everything.
Marketing, sales, name it.
Back to back, you understand? So that's basically everything still inside mass communication. So me being in school is helping my career as a gaming content creator, you understand?
In terms of your talents.
In terms of my talents, yeah. It is clashing in a way. Like, for example, I get a lot of brand sponsorships that have to be at this event, and everybody knows Babcock is a private university. You can't just dip and converse anytime you want. So some of you have to say no, some of you have to say yes. Some opportunities, this thing I said on my page once, I don't really have opportunities. I have opportunities, but I have to like create time for the opportunities. It's one thing to have the opportunity. It's one thing, like, I create the opportunity basically. That's one thing, yeah? And then as an intern, recently on 300 level, all of us had to do IT in one place, one this, that. So where did I choose to? Why did
you choose to go for your IT?
Carry First. Why did I choose Carry First? Carry First is the #1 gaming company in Africa.
The impact of esports in Nigeria, because it's gaining momentum in Nigeria, from your own perspective, what impact do you think is bringing in terms of the growth or the growing industry, having the youthful and economy of the country at heart? However, how do you see it evolving in the next few years?
Okay.
Many thanks to technology today, because I feel technology to have added impact to such industry.
Okay, I have a good answer. Oh, my brain is scattered a bit. Okay, so firstly, why a fact that many people do not know about gaming yet. Mobile gaming alone is bigger than movies and music. Charts can prove it. It's bigger than the music industry and the movies industry in the world, like on a world scale. It is bigger than it. It generates more revenue, generates more income, popularity-wise. So, and there's this thing I learned as I was doing my IT in Carry First, yeah? This thing I learned when I was doing my IT in Carry First. Africa, Nigeria, we get a lot of things late. Like, something might be trendy, something might be very, very, like, supernatural over there. But when it comes to us, a bit late, it's already, like, we're just getting it, you understand? So right now, this particular moment, gaming is that thing. Gaming is becoming a very, very big stuff. When I started content creation, yeah, like I said, I was doing something called a live stream, where I go live on TikTok playing game, you understand? Back then it was a bit, you see like just 30 people on the live stream, 40 people on the live stream, everybody's there. That's how the community was.
So how many following do you have now?
Right now, especially yesterday night, we had like almost 30-something thousand people watching on the live stream. Because right now it is advancing. We had like, okay, just 4 notable content creators back then, but right now we have like, I can't count them on my hands, you're much. So, and gaming now that gaming is coming big in Nigeria, it's in Africa right now. Right now that gaming is coming big in Africa, it seems like a very big, a massive point to focus on, because it's going to be very big. And then, you understand what I'm trying to say?
I'm trying to understand you, because this gaming thing and all of that is new to, and I'm asking myself, I think that parents in Africa need to start having a wider perspective in terms of how to embrace it with the youth of today when it comes to technology. You guys are more technology savvy, I must put it out there. But now let's bring it back to the champion match that took place yesterday. King's Play and Sanwo-Olu match, right? Sanwo-Olu, the match that took place yesterday. Actually, what was put out there was an upcoming match. I like the fact that that was clarified before coming into the studio. So I must ask you, knowing that it has gathered a lot of attention, can you walk us through the rivalry that began, and what made that match more significant yesterday between both of you and your fans? And you mentioned now that, you had over 30,000 people streaming live with you guys. That is very impressive.
Gaming is entertainment. That's one thing we should know.
Yeah,
gaming
is entertainment. On that,
gaming is beautiful. It's like watching football. There's no necessary age between both parties. But then it is for the entertainment. Yesterday's game, I created this kind of perspective that I was representing Nigeria, and is a British content creator. It's from the UK. So I was representing Nigeria, and he representing United Kingdom. And there's one thing Nigeria loves most: Nigeria will not carry last.
Yes, so we let it carry last.
We support ourselves. So that alone brought a lot of people saying yes. To make it more. We didn't put like a money, so like we didn't make it like whoever wins gets this amount of money.
Anything monetary.
Yeah, the prize pool, the stake was whoever loses dyes their hair the color of the opposite person's flag. Okay. So if I win, he's going to dye his hair the Nigerian flag, and if he wins, I dye my hair the UK flag. And Nigerians, we must see Nigerian flag on his head. Yes, everybody is ready. First, I feel like the amount of views on that stream would have been way more, because at first it was meant to be on the 14th of June. But then everybody sets reminder for the 14th of June. But then he had to postpone it to the 17th. So you understand? So yesterday, when a lot of people was there, you see everybody like, King, please be serious. So this is for us, not just for me. If you lose, me too, I'll dye my hair. I want to cut my hair. Because people take it, it's like right now it's more than just gaming. Yesterday I saw videos, people watching it on their TV, watching just me and another person play game. That's what they are doing. This is entertainment. Somebody sent a picture of two phones. They have two phones. My stream here, his stream here, just watching. Who's going to win? And that is, right now, gaming is top level entertainment. And there is so much things you can do in gaming as a content creator, as a pro player, as a gaming developer, a lot of things.
Fantastic insights right there. So let's look at the future aspiration, because looking ahead, with all that you've shared thus far, what are your goals, both as a professional gamer and in your career as a carry force? Because I feel that it's important for me to have a balanced perspective with that in terms of your career. How do you plan to leverage your experiences in esports to achieve these goals from both angles? Okay,
so first of all, first thing we should know is as Carry First, I'm an intern working along with content strategists in that aspect, in the aspect of creating like strategies for content marketing and the rest. So this is basically still what I want to do. If it wasn't gaming, I wanted to, if I didn't become a gamer, if I didn't take it, I wanted to be a social media manager or a content strategist. Understand? So
after graduation in school?
After graduation in school, yeah. That's like, because that's also a very, very big.
That's like related to influencing and managing.
It's different in a way, because there's something I learned in Carry First as my internship with Carry First. Inside the company, they have like a content strategist. How the person, like, they plan how they want their content to be like, who
in
they are
going
to,
strategies
how the video should be like, the kind of campaign they are taking on.
Our caption should be tailored.
Exactly. And then being a content creator, as a content creator, yeah, you should know a bit of this, but they are not majored in that, you understand? So Carry First, they have the content strategies, but they still need a content creator. So right now, I'm both. You understand? I'm a content, Babcock, and my internship is helping me as a content strategist, content marketer, social media manager, and then I, as a gamer, is helping me as a content creator. Understand? So it's still a link between both. So I feel like, yeah, although you might have two different passions, there's a way they always link. You understand? Yeah,
I think it's interwoven with one another with my little exposure thus far when it comes to social media. But you know, I joined social media 5 years ago. Is it up to 5 years, guy? I think 4 years plus. But if you go on my socials, you will not believe that I joined them because I'm beating them to it. But putting that aside, that's not about me. With all that you've shared thus far, you know, quite a number of us in Africa or in Nigeria particularly, we think that entertainment is limited to music, to Nollywood and all of that. Hearing fresh perspective from you, I'm also learning. You know, you've educated me with what you've shared thus far, you know, because there are times that, you know, we must stay true to issue at hand. Many African parents will not want their children to toe this line. Do you understand? So what would you want the government, what are you expecting from government in terms of advocacy, in terms of support with this kind of initiative, knowing that, you know, there's a lot of revenue from this industry?
From the government, I expect them to obviously to help promote it, because this is a very big thing. I don't know much to say. I don't have much to say on that aspect, yeah. But yeah, I expect them to promote it. I feel like they will.
So why you say you don't have much to say? The reason why I'm asking you this question is, let's say for instance, the way yourself and Soul went live yesterday, you know, in your gaming and all of that. Which government authorities did you speak with? Did you speak to Lagos State government? Did you speak to, you know, the gaming industries or agencies that could kind of collaborate with you guys? Or do you think that sometimes when such agencies or such government people come in, it kind of limits individuals? What's your opinion or perspective thus far in issues like this? Might not necessarily if it has happened to you, maybe from other people's experience, because I feel that if you are talking about creating more awareness, you must involve the government.
Well, I do know, I don't know much about what the government is doing on this aspect, but I know there are a lot of private organizations that are built solely to promote the agenda of gaming in Nigeria. We have Carry First, we have Koda Shop, we have Nexal Gaming, so many much more. Okay, during this my stream yesterday, I had this idea that normally I partner with a lot of gaming brands and everything. So I pitched this idea, but although it was very late, I pitched this idea to some companies, whereby I'm streaming, and then on that stream, there's this one, Nexal Gaming. I mentioned that Nexal Gaming promoted this. Nexal Gaming is like a news, but gaming, everything gaming is there. So they promoted this on the live stream. So I feel like if government could take on something like that, you understand? Nexal Gaming is a private organization. They do news based on gaming, basically. Understand? So if government could take something like that, it will help promote gaming in Nigeria. Okay. Many thanks,
Mayoko, for all that you've shared thus far. But you know, before I let you go, I hope we still have our other guest in the studio in Abuja. Is he still there? Okay, unfortunately we lost him. I'm not sure you have an opinion on my last segment of the show because it's related to politics. But guys, you know, I must take one trending story before I wrap up the show today. And the only trending story that truly caught my attention, that is newsworthy to me, is the youth protest in Rivers State, you know, that exposes the tension and godfatherism in Nigerian politics. That's Governor Fubara's administration that appears to be reluctant to take responsibility for the current unrest in Rivers State, as evidenced by the youth protests across, you know, various local governments. Secretariats have been brought to fore, and of course the significant policy, or significant police, rather, you know, the police presence, you know, underscores this tension that I'm talking about. And this situation continues to highlight the fallout, you know, between Fubara and his predecessor, Kike, whose political influence faces backlash from the very people he once led in Rivers State. And as far as I'm concerned, with all that I've gathered thus far, is like Fubara maintains that the tenure of local government chairmen has legally expired after 3 years, you know, challenging any tension that is ongoing at the moment. So this contention underscores a broader issue, you know, in terms of the local government autonomy. So the National Assembly's authority is limited, particularly since, you know, the country isn't in a state of emergency, making an exposed tenure legally dubious, for lack of a better word, right now. So a deeper underlying issue is the pervasive, you know, influence of godfatherism in Nigerian politics that we've seen thus far. So this undemocratic practice, you know, undermines the will of the people and erodes trust in elected officials. So godfatherism is something, you know, that I've spoken about on this platform, and I feel that oftentimes the results of godfatherism within leaders prioritizing loyalty to their political benefactor over the needs and interests of their constituencies is what brings all these, you know, clashes, and it strips genuine democratic processes. If you ask me, you know, I try to keep it real on this platform, which I feel that could be leading to governance that lacks transparency, accountability, and of course, you know, the responsiveness that you expect from the sitting government. So the current crisis in Rivers State just exemplify the detrimental effect of godfatherism thus far. That's all I'm trying to say, you know. And when political allegiance supersedes legal mandates and the rule of law, I think this is what it breeds, you know. It breeds discontent and instability. And I must emphasize on this platform that this is not only will it hamper the effective governance, but also threatens the peace, the orderliness. I don't know what word to use right now in terms of the development of the state. And I just feel that, you know, these issues need to be, you know, to come to an end. It's not just about the duration of the tenure, but about the fundamental principle of governance, so accountability and the rule of law. So the state urgently needs peace and order and respect for legal framework, you know, to restore stability and trust in its institutions. So for democracy to thrive, I must end with the fact that it is imperative to eliminate the shadow of godfatherism. I don't know how that will come to an end in politics, but I'm hoping that, you know, we can ensure that leaders are accountable to the people who have elected them, not the political patrons or godfathers, or, you know, I'm trying to control my thoughts right now, so I don't start receiving calls after my show. Let me lay my thoughts to rest. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Indeed, I had an awesome show today, courtesy my resourceful guest, that is Dr. Ejike Orji, and of course, Master Mayomikun Olutayo. Many thanks for all that you've shared thus far. Let me ask you, in one word, in one statement, what would be your message to youth who wants to be like Mayomikun right now? Speak to them in one statement, in 1 minute.
Be very smart and be careful. That's all. And be creative. Be very creative. There's so much money in gaming. You can make those money too. You read it right from Mayomikun. There's so much revenue in gaming. I'm also ready to tap into that. Trust me. I love money. I apply myself to work, but I love money. Many thanks, Mayomikun, for all that you've shared thus far. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. Till I come your way on Thursday, remember to catch me live on Inspiration FM 92.3 tomorrow at Drive Time Talk Shows. Bye now.